It's so high margin. A large chunk of that revenue just drops straight to their bottom line. I don't think there's any other SaaS player that has anywhere near as dominant of an app marketplace that Salesforce does. I know what I want to talk about, Salesforce. Salesforce does about $10 billion in revenue top line. Salesforce does about $1 billion in revenue from the app marketplace. Just like we've been talking about with GE, it's a development platform, slightly different structure of development platform, but development platform nonetheless. What does Salesforce take as a take rate on the apps?
I think it's between 15 to 20, 25-ish%, depending on the type of license and do you use some of their payment infrastructure or not. So there's a range, but it's roughly 15 to 25%.
Mm-hmm. So Salesforce, over a third of Salesforce's net income is attributed to that $1 billion in revenue from the app marketplace. And there are entire public companies that started out purely as an app on Salesforce. This is exactly what we were talking about with GE. These small tech startups that literally started their business on Salesforce and then went public 5 or 7 years later.
Yep.
So there's actually many stories. Or Oracle buys them for like $800 million.
That was Applico, I believe.
Applico, exactly. So there's actually a lot of these stories. So Salesforce has identified the app marketplace as their biggest growth opportunity. I mean, they have a number of growth opportunities, obviously, but they identified, I think their last quarterly earnings, they identified the app marketplace as the biggest growth opportunity. And it's so high margin, right? Basically all that, or a large majority or a large chunk of that revenue just drops straight to their bottom line. Not only does it make their position for their SaaS product, which is CRM software and a number of other things now, very defensible, but it gives them a way to monetize additional transactions, right? Additional software that you're using as a business, but it also improves the experience of the end customer because now I can get apps that improve the data that I have in Salesforce. I can get apps that give me additional functionality and automation and insights and intelligence into the data and how I'm using Salesforce and how I can put data into Salesforce because I'm integrating it into my other workflows. It just makes the product so much more applicable and provides so much more utility if you have the app marketplace. So I actually don't even think, Salesforce is still a very premium product to buy from a SaaS standpoint. It's not cheap to get a Salesforce license. So I don't think they've even discounted the licenses, which theoretically, you could argue you might be able to if you make it up on the transaction revenue from the app marketplace. But I think they've got a very strong business. And I don't think there's any other SaaS player that has anywhere near as dominant of an app marketplace that Salesforce does.
I think certainly in the CRM space, that's true. I think the challenge you see for Salesforce is a lot of their growth, top line growth has come through acquisitions, moving into areas that, like Heroku, where they made a big acquisition, that are a little more kind of commodity infrastructure type businesses than their CRM business. And basically by pursuing growth, moving into areas that are a little less core and don't necessarily make for good margins going forward. Mm-hmm. So I think if they're going to have challenges, it's how do you continue to grow either without making acquisitions, some of which have been hits, some of which have been misses, or how do you continue to kind of double down and focus on that core platform strength that they have and grow focusing on that, which is where you're getting a lot of that margin out of versus going into more kind of commodity infrastructure business, chasing top line growth.
Yeah, there's obviously challenges there, but the Oracle has just continued to chug along despite all of this, and Oracle's failure to actually launch or really build a competitive app marketplace.
I think we've seen that we've gone through this switching from Oracle to Salesforce internally, full disclosure. Mm-hmm. These switching costs for these kinds of things is so entrenched, and that's on the scale of our organization. Imagine doing it for a multi-billion-dollar company. That once you have these kind of systems embedded, it's just so hard to get off of them that there's certainly a strong lock-in effect for some of these companies like Oracle that are helping them kind of chug along.
Hi, this is Alex Mozed. Thanks for joining us on Winner Take All. If you enjoyed the content today, which I bet you did, please comment, subscribe, and definitely message me on Twitter when we're doing live streams. Also, please note, all opinions expressed about stocks or public companies on the show are exactly that, opinions. This is not investment advice. Don't act on it. WisdomTree licensed Applico's Platform Insights data product to aid in the creation of the PLAT ETF. Thanks for joining us.